the past couple of years, one company has risen to the top to become the best at making anime girl-styled action figures, and that would be Snail Shell. Today we're going to look at my first Snail Shell figure, TOKIWA KAZUNE. Hey all, you can call me Reviews, and I will be your action figure reviewer for the day. If you like action figure reviews, Lego, stop motions, all that sort of stuff, I think you'll enjoy my channel, and if you enjoyed this video, please leave a like, comment, and subscribe, or even join the Discord via the link in the description below. Let's begin. Starting off, the packaging looks pretty darn nice. It's simplistic, and I wish they had something more going on the sides, but overall, it's neat. It has this kind of down-to-earth industrial look with it, with that textures. You have your authentication sticker, obviously the Snail Shell logo, and it feels pretty premium, pretty well done. I personally am a really big fan of the blue and gunmetal grace color scheme. Reminds me a bit of Nia from Lego Ninjago, but overall this thing just looks cool. Now, as with all import figures, at least if you're in the States, this has a tray, and this tray is incredibly well packed. This is the instruction booklet. Yes, action figures do come with instructions, and we also have the card that has your QR code and a bunch of text within Chinese that I cannot read. At least I assume this is Chinese, because Snail Shell, to my knowledge, is a Chinese company. The instruction booklet itself has a bunch of pictures of the render and tells you essentially every single part that is included within this set. On the tray, you have your protective sticker basically indicating whether or not this product has been tampered with. Very useful to have, especially if you're shipping this across long distances, such as over the Pacific Ocean, and I think it is pretty cool that they actually stuck 2 of them on there. I guess it's a bit overkill, but actually no, they put on 3. Definitely overkill, but okay, yeah, who cares? It's good to have. Good to have. Now with the tray open, we can see everything this figure comes with, and it is indeed quite stacked, starting off with this stand. This is the Snail Shell stand. It's a hexagonal pattern. I might prefer a rectangular pattern, but you know what? Hexagonal, it works. You have this extra tray with the little accessory parts for the stand itself, as well as the eye tool mover. And watch me as I completely butcher removing this thing and send all the hands flying. These are the extra pegs. Obviously, as this is a stand, this basically is your standard Figma or SH Figuarts action stand. It only really is different due to the Snail Shell logo, and I like the arm, or yeah, it's nice. It has screws so you can tighten it up. Super nice to have, though I don't think this figure has a port for that little thing, so you have to use the clip. She is packaged inside of a nice little baggie with, even on her, she has extra plastic to prevent her parts. They really went all out in making sure that this figure is protected, especially since she has soft goods with that skirt. And the color match looks pretty good so far, and is going to take a little bit to remove all of these individual plastic pieces, because there are quite a few of them even underneath her layers, so that will take a bit of time, but overall I'm glad they went through the effort of protecting this figure. Her singular extra faceplate, unfortunately only singular extra faceplate, is nice looking. And it's also in a bag. Pretty much everything is in a little bag for protection because everything is painted and looks super cool. Just as a first impression, this figure looks very premium. I am quite impressed. Everything feels nice and smooth to the touch. I am worried about this rifle breaking, but it's not a Marvel Legends figure. Of course, they're going to be using harder plastic for these more finely sculpted details and paint. This extra clip holder skirt thing is also in a bag. Everything's just in a bag except for the hands. So overall, I think that is a pretty good decision just to keep things nice and secure and the paint where it needs to be. Now that we have the figure completely out, I must say I am impressed. She feels great in hand just as a first impression, and all those little details stand out really, really well. I love the sort of battle maid aesthetic they went with. Obviously, that's the trope they're going for, and they nailed it perfectly. I will say, though, that her legs feel a little too long. Like, they feel long in hand when you're feeling that center of gravity. And she has all these really nice details. The frills on her chest are very well sculpted and pretty much match how they look on the soft goods. An impressive feat. And that hairpiece, that looks awesome. Now, she does have no paint chipping or paint rub from what I can tell, which is very impressive considering how many bits of her are painted. She has just so many great little details, just looking at her knee pads and her boots with all the little lacing, with the black lacing on top of the gunmetal gray, and this kind of hockey pad knee looking thing. It looks super nice, and like normally other figures, those black center parts would not be painted. You would have to like panel line them yourself. Now, her straps for her garter belt, they look like they're colored in metal. Like, that would be super uncomfortable to wear. I kind of feel bad for her. I know she's literally a battle maid, and this is already way out of the realm of realism, but those look kinda annoying on her. The bow is really nice on the back, and she has the same sort of shoulder pads on the side, which don't make sense, but who cares? It's a sci-fi battle maid. The frills look great, and the straps just kind of go all the way through. As you can tell, she also has the gunmetal on, like, right underneath her bust area. It's a pretty interesting design decision. I guess she's supposed to have Kevlar armor underneath her battle maid outfit, but then she's showing her thighs. Like, it's the genre. It's the genre. She looks awesome. The soft goods feel really nice, and the color match is almost there. It's just slightly darker and grayer on the soft goods. Now, the gloves look super nice. You have that tactile finger texture, and it fits really nicely with her boot aesthetic. Now, she does, if you can remove the skirt, which you can, it's held on basically with Velcro, so just be careful, remove it from the bottom, don't move too quickly, and you can see that she has extra detail underneath the soft goods, where that kind of detail continues down. Now, she does have panties, and they have a necessary lip detail. However, they're really nicely textured and colored really nicely to have that sort of red pinkish undertone that her whole skin, except for her arms, has going for it, which is super nice to see. Though the metal straps continue through, and it still looks kind of wonky, but I think it works. Aren't garter belts supposed to have straps on both sides of the leg? Who cares? And you can just as easily put the bow, not the bow, well, yes, the bow, you can put the skirt back on nice and easily. Her light blue hair has some light gray shading on it, which looks super nice, and she also has that sort of communication device going behind her little maid. I forgot what that's called, but yeah, it looks super cool, and let's get on to the accessories. While it looks like she comes with a lot, I do wish she came with a couple more things, but overall I think this is a really good spread for what you get. She has an alternate faceplate, which has, as with the other faceplate, movable eyes. Now, I'm a little bit iffy on movable eyes. They're sometimes a little bit wonky to line up, but because these aren't like straight in, they're slightly angled, I think that allows you to make them more flat on a lot easier. So that's pretty good. And this is it on her head. It is a little tight at first to remove her hairpiece, but other than that, getting it on is super easy. Just watch out for that microphone. Her faces have this really nice red lining on the eyelashes and eyebrows, but it is a little bit difficult to pick up on my camera, but in person it looks super cool, and though it is a little bit hidden by that hair. She also comes with this super awesome rifle. I freaking love this thing. It has so many moving little gizmos and parts, and it just looks cool with that paint and shading applied to it. It's very tactical and down-to-earth looking. It's probably based on a real AK-47 or whatever. I don't know my guns. I might be American, but I'm not a gun guy. The stocks, I think they're called, are swappable with a longer one, and it has all these little moving bits as well as a removable cartridge. Is it a cartridge? Is it a magazine? I have no clue. It is very movable, and all of these magazines look super nice. You can see each individual bullet within them, and even on the bottom, not the bottom, the top of it, you can see the individual bullet. Super well sculpted, super cleanly painted. This is actually insane that they provide 7 of these things. And those slide right onto this really cool gun. Again, almost all these bits are movable on the gun, which is super nice and satisfying. She comes with a pair of open palm hands, closed fisty hands, great for punching, slightly open holding hands, trigger discipline hands, that fit really nicely around the gun, and they look just like this. She holds the gun really well, and the hands do a good job. She also comes with a pair of, well, on the trigger finger hands, and those fit just like this. You just have to fiddle with it a bit to get that finger on the trigger itself, and that gives it a lot more life and realism for when you're firing in poses, which looks super cool. She comes with a pair of holding hands, and they hold the magazine. I wish she also came with a knife or something else to hold, but that's okay. Super useful if you want to have her reloading her gun. And all of those clips can go into this clip holding skirt armor piece thing. I honestly don't know how else to describe it. It looks pretty neat, and it fits on her really nicely. In order to put it on, you have to remove her top. Like, literally, you have to remove the top of her body, and then you slide it over her torso. Make sure that the more pinched inside is at the front, and then you put her torso back on. I know, a little bit gruesome, a little bit worrying. That ball peg, that dumbbell ball joint is really small, but after that you can just push all of these clips in, and it looks super cool, albeit it restricts articulation a little bit. Speaking of articulation, after I put her back together, I'm going to keep off the skirts because that allows to see how her articulation works a lot better. Alright, starting with the head. Snail Shell has this weird angled wrist peg slash head swivel joint. It's I've never seen it angled like this on any other figure, not Figma, not Reveltech, and I think it works pretty well as long as you can re-angle their head pretty nicely. Her ponytail is on a ball joint, though it's pretty limited to basically just being a swivel, and of course her neck is also in there as a ball joint. Her torso connects to her midsection via a dumbbell joint, which has a good little bit of movement, but overall it is fairly restricted in key places, though she does have a decent back bend from that dumbbell joint. Forward, though, pretty sad. She can get better than a 90 degree or a 180 degree T-pose, just because her ball peg that connects into her torso can move down a bit, and then you can hinge up. Looks super nice. Her elbow joint is a double jointed elbow, though unfortunately due to her frills it is a little bit restricted. Could be worse though. Then moving down you have that same angled version of the peg, but unfortunately moving back up to the arm, on my right arm it is a little bit tight when you get to a certain area, so that spice up swivel is kind of non-functional slightly, though it is perfect on the left side arm. Now going back down to her torso, and there is a ball joint at her midsection, but it's limited, very limited, quite unfortunate. You can get a full 360 with her upper dumbbell joint though, but for that lower one, no, that kind of sucks. It's very unfortunate that it's not that great, especially with how important hip movement and dynamicness is to a character like this. Now she does get a pretty good back bend when you put all of her joints together, but it's still not amazing. And forward, of course, is basically worse than a Marvel Legends. She has a ball joint that connects into her upper section, and then you have a ball joint that connects into the leg, and it's a weird system. They used it on a Keep Going figure, and I'm not a big fan of it. I just prefer that triple ball joint system where you have the ball joint that connects into that midsection torso, but her leg goes up that far, but unfortunately she does not pass the joint strength test. It's a little too floppy for my liking, despite the figure weighing not too much. Now she does have a really nice thigh swivel and a upper thigh swivel, also kind of like a Mafex, but also like a Marvel Legends. Super sweet. Her boot is a floating piece, and her ankle has a ton of movement with that foot. She has a toe bend, super nice and deep, basically as far as you want to go. She has that ankle pivot, ankle rocker, up and down, nice and down pat. She has great leg articulation. Though to fix that looseness, I recommend Kiki's Fix Loose Joints, which hopefully, if I remember, I'll put a link to in the description below. You can get it off of Amazon. Unfortunately, despite how good this figure looks, her articulation is not up to snuff. However, you can get her into some really nice poses, even though she is a bit limited. She feels kind of like a Marvel Legends as far as range goes, but she still has a great ton of detail, and all of that beautifully shows itself with any pose you can put her in. She is incredibly expressive, especially with those movable eyes, which almost make up for the lack of a third faceplate. You can give her, despite her expressions, very poignant expressions that give you basically everything you could want personality-wise, and she's just a fun figure. She is a very fun figure to pose around with. I highly recommend her if you're a poser, just because you can get her into some pretty cool things. Now let us begin the size comparisons. Starting off, we have Figma Link from Tears of the Kingdom and Keep Going Sonata. And we have Flame Toys Bumblebee and the new Marvel Legends Gamerverse Psylocke. Next we have Marvel Legends Venom and Figma Mio from Xenoblade Chronicles 3. And finally we have Rebel-Tech Harley Quinn and the high-grade Gundam G-Quux from Gundam G-Quux. Thank you all so much for watching this review. I hope you enjoyed it and this video informed you on this figure. This is my first snail shell figure, and overall I am quite impressed, and hopefully we'll get more in the future. Now unfortunately this order did take a little while to arrive, but I got it from Bombasby, which I think she is still available now. Thank you all so much for watching. Have a great rest of your day, and if you liked it, please leave a like and subscribe and a comment. Bye bye!